Hello everyone, this is Cat Cosmic here, and I'm going to be sharing with you more of Duane's words from previous Skype shows. As you can see, I have my very own news studio, and not one pesky environment destroying human in sight. Well, I might let them empty the bins if they are lucky. Let's see if they can do that without blowing something up. And the topic today is trying to hold back the Yuga cycle. Is this an exercise in futility? We are in the last Yuga cycle. Creation goes through cycles that we call Yuga cycles. We are in the Iron Age. Creation then will implode upon itself. Then everything is recreated and the cycles begin again. Unaware souls then are in a holding position, unconscious, until creation is reconstructed, and then they resume their journey through life. But that was the literal interpretation of how it works. This is along the lines of old stories and fables, like those told in the Bible, and people still follow these old outdated tales to this day. Paul did likewise. He presented what he did in a certain way. He presented it a little along the lines of a fairy story, simply because at that time the extent of the information people could accept was very limited. Looking at creation more closely, however, beyond the literal describing of the cycles, where does one Yuga begin and another end? It in fact does not. Creation is like the isness. It has always existed and always will. Creation is based upon free will. If it is decided that it exists, it is so. It's also possible for people to decide the opposite, and similarly this can then be the case. But be reassured. The majority agree that it does exist, and so this must obviously outweigh those who agree the opposite. Paul had to break it down in a literal sense, because the system encourages complete literalism, disregarding the imagination and intuition, and making everyone effectively into robots. Paul thus formulated Ekankar to be literal for this reason, but now it has become even more so, more literalized, personal, formulated, and emotional. This is where the influence kicks in, as everyone wants to be influenced, and it becomes so. Like the governments, who are influenced by their want and desire to control, but it is of course their choice to be this way. So we are in a worse part than we were 30, 40 or 100 years ago on Earth. The environment has degraded in just 100 years or so. It's all based on the choices people make. People want to live in a nice place and to have everything fixed, but they must step up to ensure it is so. These Yuga ages are old ideas. Paul simplified it. And this goes along the lines of prophecy and prediction, but it's really just cause and effect. Prophecies can be ideas created, but not necessarily become so, due to free will, which can change at any given moment. The guides are always exacting change on the real side, and assisting individuals that they can skip over much of what they have set in cause and effect motion, so this can offset prophecy too. Life is always now, so to focus on what has happened in the past makes no sense, except by way of a reference from what you've experienced. But if you cling on to the past as your reality, you're clinging onto just your personal self and sense. The Yuga idea is just that, an idea and not a reality, because in creation everything is free will and choice. The literal view of things that we have come to know is better to be seen as a reference and not a reality, because you're limiting things to that consideration. Giving up that consideration and seeing it as a reference is preferable, just like all the old books that line your shelves at home. If we keep dragging these old references along, it's like beating a dead horse. The best references are those that allow people to see more. But most people want to make these old ideas their reality. It is like a comfort zone. They will hit the wall. It won't work. None of it will work. The chakras, all the knowledge in the world, it goes nowhere, because it's not a true recognition with the isness life is. So ultimately, it's good to know these things as references, but there is no need to lodge these ideas in the subconscious and be limited to them. All the spiritual paths, religions and politics are unconsciously holding people to old ideas, and the controllers want people to be held. This is the age of knowledge, and people like David Icke, respectfully, he has some knowledge, but he has no real cure or connection to the is. He never refers to it. So people are actually stuck with the knowledge he provides. The knowledge becomes an infection and interference after a while. This is where people have been indoctrinated to be literal, and not truly recognise the all is. There is a real difference. Creation will go on forever. Paul just presented the Yuga story to make it easier for people to understand. So, have a fabulous day, everyone, and don't forget to sing the New You song. Cats sing the New You song too, and it goes like this. New You.